inspiration for musical artists, artists of any kind, people interested in expressing themselves. That's the purpose of this channel, to develop creativity and expression. But then also I'm showing my journey to do that as an artist, as a musical artist. But it can equally apply to I think a lot of the what I'm trying to convey can apply to a lot of different mediums, respects, and mediums, disciplines, and undertakings. And it's for inspiration, insight, and also sharing music, because I'm having the opportunity to share musical content, whether that's with half a dozen, or 100 people. It's still rock and roll if it's original and people like it. But I kind of wanted to elaborate on and share a random conversation that I had last night as I made one of my final deliveries for the current phase of my life as a 1099 delivery person in my area. So it was kind of like I think they call it like a water tower, or is a significant moment that I shared in the elevator with this man. And I usually just say random stuff off the cuff. The best way to interact with anyone is just to say whatsoever comes into your mind, and just riff off of that, and that's how you can broach or open someone into an interaction based on something that is existing between you in reality, in real time. And then you can actually make a friend just by saying something that came into your mind. Because when we're around people, we have all kinds of different stuff coming into our mind, but we keep it to ourselves, and then we start having that experience we should be having with them. We start having it with ourselves in a very unflattering way, and we get like stuck in our head, whatever. But so this man came onto the elevator with some cool boots, and I was like, man, if I like those boots. If they were my size, I'd be trying to rob you right now. And he laughed about it, but then I was thinking about it later. I should have been like, if they were my size, I should try to rob you with them. he'd probably kick my back in with them. And then I get the camera footage, tell the police, and then sue you, and then get the boots back. And then you probably tell all your comrades and your bandits that I have been a snitch, and then you guys come after me, come behind me, and then get the boots back. But now they have a better story. So just like random stuff like that, but he appreciated that, and then we got to talking about how nasty and mean, because he had these boots that almost looked like from the Civil War period, and we got to talking about like how I had attended a high school that was a significant location in the Civil War, and it was located very close to a railroad in a significant place in the South. And we got to talking about just how nasty and mean and unnecessary war is, and how like I was telling him, like, him and we're like regular men, and we enjoy women, and we probably can't expect to go to hell. But even in hell, we would still be a guest there, and but nobody's a guest in war, and that's the type of stuff we're talking about. But then we got to talking about music, and I was telling him a little bit about like what I do, like with this channel, like with riffing and improvising and doing stuff. And if you've been able to enjoy some of my all my content, really, but the most recent videos I'm leaving, they actually do not derive from principles of harmony as are generally and broadly understood. And so it would appear in those videos as though I have more of a musical background with harmony than I may actually have. And I do have some background with harmony, like this is my alma mater, Berkeley College of Music, but I had went to the online program, and I made it as far as Music 201, which is like the second level of musical harmony and theory as a student in college. But I think I got like a C in both those classes. So I do understand what is going on with when people are using principles of harmony. But I was never like fluent in it and coordinated with it, where like if someone were to be like, what is a C major, what is a C major 7? I could sit down on a piano, and I could pluck it out or figure it out, but it probably take me like 5 or 10 minutes. And in music, you obviously don't have. You're talking about like instantly you have to do something instantly to make it fluent. But so I say as much as say that I learned enough about it to throw the book away. And I actually have it's kind of interesting because I had located one of the most uh, the most thick, voluminous, and thoroughgoing books about musical harmony, a used book. And the book begins by saying that the author commends a person for picking up the book. However, they're liable to throw that book in the nearest in out the window of a car or into a campfire at one point in studying it. And that was a way deeper remark that the comment that the author of that book made than it might seem. Because I was like, dang, like this is a beautiful, cold book. Why would you say something like that? It was like, but. And then also it's kind of weird to like make like a joke or a reference like that in like a technical book that could be used in a college from an author. But I almost feel like when you understand that book, you would really throw it away, and it doesn't even take you to the end of the book to understand it if you're coming like I'm coming. So the other thing I wanted to say is that when I was at Berkeley College of Music, I learned a lot of things about like artistry, but then also I was saying like these I was saying some different like inspirational comments, like kind of like what I do in these videos and in a lot of my life that are kind of like rambling on and on, run-on sentences, but I have a little bit of insight in there because I've read a lot of different stuff and thought about a lot of different stuff. And there was one guy in there who was like, I think he was, he had like been from like a military and a computer background, but he was just a really nice guy that was really intelligent. And he appreciated a lot of my comments, but when he was responding to one, he did this little thing where it's like if I were to say if I were to say this is an off-brand bottle of soda. When you say off and brand like that in writing, you put a little dash between it. I think it's called like a M dash, or it can be a hyphen or M dash. But it's acknowledging that you just put two nouns together as though you put two words together as though they were one word, and when you put that dash together, that's how you express that clearly in punctuation. Just by watching another student do that, it gave me an awareness of what's going on when you read something as far as the punctuation that's going on and what that punctuation is actually saying, because for a long time growing up, I saw a lot of different, I could read a lot of different things, and I had a grasp for understanding things that I'm reading, but I never completely grasped what was going on with the punctuation. It just looked like random punctuation, but so by me witnessing him do that, it made me start to be more and more and more better of a reader and writer, just by being aware of punctuation. So I wanted to highlight that as one of the things that I picked up in school. But another thing I picked up there is that I read a book by, we were exposed to the writings of a brilliant musician and Grammy Award winning musician named, I think, Victor Wooten. And he no less, and coincidentally is a bassist. And some of the things that I'm doing in these videos are going over bass notes, like riffing on bass. And in his book, it's kind of like he's in that book, he's presenting ideas almost similar to the Bhagavad Gita, where it's in the Gita, as I understand, I think a female pupil or disciple is asking questions of a master, and in essence, they're the same person, because we are all always teacher and student ourselves, and we are one another, and we are all people. But it's like a question back and forth between a student, somewhat naive or unlearned person and a student, and then a more seasoned and masterful person as a teacher, to the point of being mystical, both in the Gita but also in this book that Victor Wooten wrote. And so he's teaching his understanding of music in magical terms and magical dimensions. And for me to come across it as a book at first that would seem like a little bit pretentious, or like he's kind of reaching with that one. But the things that he said in that book are they're not, they are in fact mystical, I think, if you appreciate it in a certain sense. One example of that is that, and this is where I'm leaning into it in adding to the type of things he's talking about in that book. But in that book, he said a couple of things. He said, like, one thing is that he was telling he was telling the person, like, the mystical teacher has appeared just by you locking it, you're putting out a vibe into your vicinity, into your life, and into your reality of being available to be robbed. So just if you left it unlocked, a lot of people will walk past it and just as soon assume that it's locked. And if someone is bold enough or inclined enough to break into your car, most cars are locked, so they probably accounted for that and would do so in spite of that. So you're a little bit better off by not locking it and not putting that vibe out. So that's the type of thing he talked about in there. But another thing he said, equally and more so profound, is that he enunciates in that book that a lot of times when we're learning like music or we're learning an instrument, sometimes our very preceptors who are supposed to encourage and enlighten us can actually browbeat us to a degree and intimidate us with their own proficiency, learning, skill, knowledge, fluency in technical terms and so forth, that actually limit us as their